Hi everyone. This is a 2006 Harley-Davidson Dyna Wide Glide. The bike has been great for years, but the other day I came in after a ride, parked the bike here, and the next morning I came out and found a big puddle underneath it. And that being the case, I checked it out. I cleaned up underneath the primary. There was a leak around and off of the primary drain bolt. I wiped all that clean. I noticed that oil did seem to be coming from behind the inner primary and not the bolt itself. I checked these for torque. I checked the drain plug itself for torque. All of it looked good. So I cleaned it up some more, noticed it was still leaking, and again the oil does seem to be coming from behind the inner primary case, and more specifically from where the main drive pulley gear sprocket is in that area. So I'm relatively sure one, that it's not the shifter seal that is sometimes common that goes, not the shifter seal. I'm within reason sure it is the inner primary bearing or seal, bearing and seal. If the seal's gone, I'm replacing the inner primary anyway. As well, if it's not that, and heaven forbid it should be the actual main gear bearing and seal, that will of course require the inner primary to come off, but also require that the transmission gear set cassette be removed part. So what I've done here is I've drained the inner primary, pulled the plug and pulled the cover. That's all I've done so far. I've warmed the bike up a little bit, ran it around the block, pulled the inner pulled the cover here and pulled the drain plug. So I'm draining the inner primary. That being the case, if I see oil around the, from the sides of the primary drain plug, I'll know that it's still leaking. And at that point, I'll have more of an apt to think that it is indeed the main gear pulley bearing and seal. It is still leaking. That would lead me to believe that it is the actual transmission case that is leaking. And if it is the transmission case, it's at least 2 points on the transmission case: the shifter itself, shifter seal itself, which I kind of doubt, or the main gear sprocket bearing and seal. So what I'm going to do now is start to break down the outer primary and then start a disassembly on the actual clutch pack, compensator, and get all of that removed. Alright, just pulling the outside primary off. Also realize that the screws are different sizes. These screws are part of the primary cover, and so are these. These 4 large ones are in the 4 bolts on the front side of the primary. They're the longest bolts. You can actually see it in the case. You can see the difference in the actual case itself. Smaller, smaller, smaller. As you get into this front part, I think these extend actually into the inner primary. They do. They extend into the inner primary. Into the actual engine case itself. So don't forget that. And if you have the service manual, which you should have, it lays that out a bit for you right in the service manual. So bear that in mind. keep your parts separated and clean. Keep your area clean, of course, and go for it. I leave a top bolt in. I'm left one bolt in. I'm just dealing with hand tools here. I've banged it a little bit. It should be somewhat separated. Just hold it together, and this should, with just a it's all clean, and the tension on the chain, it feels actually pretty good. So I'm going to go on the notion that it is actually all right. All right. Outer primary case has two positioning dowels. One here. Actually, I think that one's set. There's one here. You can go in the outer primary case. And one here. And they're both positioning, and they also hold on the primary gasket. All right, bear that in mind. There will be a little bit of oil in the bottom of your setup here. All right. That being the case, I'm going to go ahead and start to do a little bit of disassembly. What looks to be an 11/16 for the jam nut. Take that back. 7/32 on the clutch screw. You can go ahead and take that out. Clutch screw is, oh, there's a good boy. Thank you, son. Great. Clutch screw is separate from the push rod, so keep your parts in order. Push rod is doweled. Let's see, any wear. You're looking for any sort of strange wear. I don't see anything. It all looks actually really good. When breaking the compensator sprocket and the clutch pack nut bolts, this is actually lefty-loosey. The compensator sprocket bolt turns left to loosen, and the clutch pack would turn right to loosen. This is opposite thread. All right. So, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and get this off. This primary ring. If you should have a set of these snap ring pliers. Place them in. Wear some goggles. If it does get away on you, these can be very unpleasant as they're spring loaded. Alright. It actually looks in good shape. It looks like it's in really good shape. That being the case, then now removing this, I think we can just slip this back in. Give it a couple of turns and that should come out somewhat. There we go. Alright, so I'll just keep that as assembly, one assembly, like so. Or the compensator nut, that is 13/16. Alright, 13/16. I've already broken free the compensator nut. I've used actually a piece of flooring, piece of oak flooring that I had, and works quite well. This does turn. I used an extension bar to break that free. I put this bar onto this and had about 3 feet of leverage. With that done, I went ahead and I've loosened that up a bit. That's done. I'm going to go ahead and take a crack at the clutch basket. I'm going to switch the switch that around. I'm not even going to try it with just the bar. I'm going to go straight for an extension and start to put some leverage on this. Let's see what we get. Okay, that wasn't bad at all. Alright, that's loose. So, both the compensator nut, which turns lefty-loosey, is loose. The clutch basket nut, which is right to loosen, is loose. Chain adjuster is going to come out. Take out that assembly, and then this entire basket, you know, just like that, will kind of drop out. At least that's the plan. All right, we'll continue with that and go from there. Now, as far as the adjuster goes, these are 1/2 inch. Let's see, is that 1/2 inch? Yep, 1/2 inch adjuster bolts. I think I've already broken these away. No, maybe not. Okay, there's one. There's two. All right. Okay, well, it's certainly spring-loaded. I'm glad I made these little notes back here. I made small markings on this adjuster. Small little markings are on this adjuster and on that shoe. So when I put it back together, they should line up. Let's see if we can work it out like so. I see that the clutch basket, the entire clutch assembly, as I undo this bolt, is actually falling forward as the bike is on the side stand. So I do have a jack for the bike, I just haven't put it on the jack yet. Also, this front sprocket, chain sprocket, is also falling somewhat forward. Okay, here we are. I had close to having this off. It was on the side stand. Bike was tipped, obviously on the side stand, a little over to this side, with everything wanting to slide right off the main shaft and all. I've gone ahead, put it up on its stand, it's stable, and I'm going to go ahead and take the clutch basket and clutch pack and compensator side sprockets all off as one assembly, and I've made a place to put that, at which point then we'll go from there. I've of course removed the I've already removed the chain adjuster, so we're good to go. Again, this turns left, I'm sorry, right to loosen. There's the nut. I think I have a so this assembly should just come off as one pack, one piece. Put my feet a little bit more stable and set it up.